Sleep, no, I never get enough. I'm always waking up tired. Sleep, no, I never get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired. This song from an early 2000s.
Early 2000s,
I
it
guess
was.
Christian rock band.
It was some solo guy. It was his only hit.
Oh,
It was a great song. And the video had like Play-Doh characters. It was kind of cool.
okay. Well, this song, which most of you have probably never heard of, is in fact a perfect theme song for many of our lives. A lot of us do not have what we would classify as a healthy sleep schedule.
No, not at all.
Some of it is a cultural thing. Some of it is our personal issues dealing with that. But sleep is a vital area for our life. Everyone sleeps. So why do we treat it as such a non-necessary peripheral thing?
Yeah. We do. People say like, oh, I'm so tired, or I don't need sleep and stuff like that.
Today's show, we're going to be talking about sleep and how it is absolutely vital for living a successful life physically. All of that and more on the show.
This is the Thriving Man Podcast with David and Reese Maxwell. These weekly shows are designed to help you remove the confusion from your life and make real progress with your growth. No matter where you are or where you're going, we're here to help you live a life you can be proud of. So welcome to the Thriving Man Podcast.
Sleep is one of those things where everybody kind of has their own lane.
They do.
Everyone, like some people sleep on their side, some people sleep on their back. For me personally, I am a back sleeper. In fact, I kind of get made fun of a little bit by Emily because she says, you sleep like a mummy. Like I lay on my back and I have my hands together.
No way.
On my chest. I'm like this. I kind of look like a dead person a little bit.
I was about to say, you look like you're meditating, solemnly on something.
Yeah, I love being able to sleep on my back. There's just something about the side sleepers that I don't understand. Because, like, how do you have your shoulder not fall asleep or just get crunched like you're doing a breakdancing or something?
Well, I'm a side sleeper. And my arm a lot of times did fall asleep until I had a certain bed. Once, and that's why it will forever be my bed.
Your bougie rich person
My
bed.
sleep number bed was the first bed where my arm didn't go to sleep, and it's never gone. In fact, whenever I sleep at someone else's house and my arm does go to sleep, sometimes you'll be like, oh yeah, that's what. But literally, I can't remember the last time it did it.
Yeah.
But I'm a side sleeper. I sleep in the fetal position. And now I'm to a point I have to have a pillow between my legs.
Yep.
The fan on. I'm getting more and more picky, and you miss, like, I need a pillow that's tall because my head's way up here. And when I side sleep, a lot of times the pillows, so I like two pillows, but I don't want it too tall. You almost like that just right kind of thing. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's got their thing. Like for me, I definitely have a fan. Like there's got to be a fan going in the room.
Yeah.
Because there's like that noise that you need to fall asleep.
I've got the white noisemaker that I've had. In fact, I never knew of that till I married your mom. She had one, and it converted me.
Yeah. And sleep is one of those things that even though we all have our different way that we do it, everyone's got to do it.
We got to.
I mean, sleep is a vital part of our life. If you got a good sleep schedule, you're sleeping almost a third of your life, really?
Yeah.
Actually, probably should be a third
You
of
should
your
be.
life.
Yeah, you should be.
And so the question is, like, why is it an area that can be so neglected? Why is it something that we just don't really pay a lot of attention to? Sleep almost seems to be the thing we go to if we want to escape a little bit. Yeah. Like in school, you would always have the person that was kind of zoning out or falling asleep in that moment.
Oh, I was junior year of high school. First period class was advanced U.S. history. Teacher was a sweet lady, but she was very monotone and taught very, and then, and I mean, every single class for the whole semester, I was head nodding, and then I would finally just fall asleep and just crash. And it's fun to watch people do that, but when you're doing it, you're trying not to fall asleep, but sometimes it's just hard.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not getting enough sleep. then it's easier to fall asleep like that.
That's true. And for some reason, I think a lot of times in our culture, we view sleep as an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd rather not.
I mean, the big question is, if sleep is so important for us, why are we neglecting it?
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe, honestly, if you're one of those people that is wondering, like, what's the purpose of sleep? Let's talk about that for a second and get, why is sleep so important? Why is it so vital to our health?
Yeah, and I think that's something that we don't ask a lot, but the truth is we were designed to sleep. Sleep is a part of our body. It's what we do. When you're sleeping, that gives your body a chance to make repairs. You know, if something is hurt. A lot of people who are trying to build muscle, that's when your muscles actually rebuild a lot of times, is when you're sleeping.
There's that saying, sleep it off.
Yeah,
That's a real thing.
It is.
Like,
It
you can
is.
sleep and your body will literally take something that is a big issue and make it less of an issue.
Yeah.
Like, this makes me sound like an old person, but earlier this week, I don't know how I did it, but I pulled a muscle that, like, I think it was my IT band, because it was right over where my hip was. And it was like a sharp pain. And I slept and it was much better. And then I slept again. And now today it's virtually not even there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the time of the day where your body's fixing itself.
Well, and I think what we want is, we don't want the time factor.
Right.
So what we want is, well, can I just take a pill and get better? Can I drink a special supplement and get better?
We want the quick fix.
We do. And our bodies were made to sleep. Sleep helps us reduce our stress.
Right.
You know, when you're really stressed out and you're worried about stuff, but then you get a good night's sleep, a lot of times it changes your perspective. It changes how you think about things. You know, you wake up, sometimes you have great ideas in the morning. You wake up because your subconscious, while you're sleeping, can work on things and think about things. So the next day you may have better thoughts because you had a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's also, obviously, where you gain your energy back.
Yeah.
Because here's the truth. If we didn't sleep, that would mean your entire life would be like one long day.
Yeah.
There's nothing to like start or stop your day. There's nothing to be like the pause point.
Yeah.
And that would be mentally exhausting.
Well, look at your phone. I mean, your phone wears out and you plug it in. You know that you may have wireless or plug it straight in or whatever.
Right.
But if you don't do that, what's going to happen to your phone?
It's going to die.
It's going to die. And I think we don't think of ourselves that way, but we need that energy. And you can tell when you wake up on your own without an alarm clock because your body is rested,
What
how
a
much
great
better do
feeling.
you feel?
Yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh, I'm ready for the day. It's not that, oh, I hate mornings. And most people who wake up rough, it's because they're not getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
They wake up rough because their body is being forced up when they don't need to. And we all have that. There's times in life, you know, if you have a small child, you know, you're fighting a war, you know, you're in a busy season of
gotta
life.
suck it up.
That's going to happen. But the majority of time, we need that sleep if we want to perform well, because you'll have the energy, your body will be healed, and all those more positive things will happen.
Yeah. I mean, you can Google it right now. Benefits of sleep.
Yeah.
You're going to see physical benefits. You're going to see energy benefits. You're going to see emotional benefits and mental benefits.
Yeah.
Sleep has a lot to do with memory. Sleep has a lot to do with your brain taking the information that you've gotten through the day, putting it in its right spot.
Well, and we've also seen in the business world to where business leaders are also looking at things like power napping and doing those things where, like, a 20-minute power nap. There's a lot of CEOs who will take a 20-minute power nap between, you know, the morning and the afternoon because they say it rejuvenates them for the afternoon.
Right. And I mean, even companies like Google, you can look it up right now, Google Sleep Pods.
Yeah.
They have little 30-minute nap sleep pods that you can use.
Yeah.
And so companies are starting to get it.
Yeah.
But there's still a big culture against sleep, which is, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, well, this is the part that's weird. If sleep is so important for our health, why don't we do it? You know, like, a lot of us see sleep as an inconvenience, as you've said.
Yeah.
There's obviously some stuff going on behind the scenes that is
Well-
making it to where we're just obviously not doing something that's so important for us, or at least not doing it well.
Yeah. Well, I know for a lot of men, sleep is one of those things. We all have to do it, but if you enjoy sleep or like, hey, I want to get my sleep, other guys sometimes will see you as weak
Right.
or we feel weak.
Yeah.
Like the first place I worked, the guy I worked under was notorious about bragging how little sleep he needed.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I'm 4 hours a night, 5 hours a night. That's all I need.
Yep.
But he was notorious for sitting in his office and it would get real quiet in there because I think he would just conk out.
Yeah.
And so he had the ability. Well, it's like, have you ever been around that person who you can't watch a movie with them? Because if they sit down and sit still in a dark room,
They're gone.
They're gone
Yep.
every time. That's usually a sign you're not getting enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men don't want to admit they need sleep.
Yeah.
They see it as, well, I don't want to admit that I need that because other guys will make fun of me. They'll see me as weak and all that stuff. And it's just not true, but that's how a lot of guys view it.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely that culture of you'll sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I've heard
that's
people
a
say
whole
that.
saying.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's going to be a lot sooner
I
than
know.
you anticipate
It's
if
a
you
lot
don't
sooner than you
sleep.
want.
Like I was listening to a podcast one time, and it was a guy who was a doctorate in sleep.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he's not concerned for the insomniacs as much as he's concerned for the people that just don't sleep at all.
Wow.
And like the people that get 3 or 4 hours a night and
Yeah.
are super healthy in every other way. Like they're training for a marathon, but then they just keel over and die at 45.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation for it. He's like, we're starting to link that kind of lifestyle with a lack of sleep.
Wow.
So no, not sleeping well tonight isn't going to kill you.
Yeah.
But if you sustain a very unhealthy sleep habit, you cannot be successful physically.
Yeah. Well, you look at guys who maybe do shift work and those kind of things. They talk about how hard it is to function in regular life.
Yep.
You know, if they're working 11 to 7 every night, but then on the weekends, they have to perform normally during the day, but then go back to the 11 to 7. That's a hard thing. And those guys talk about the stress, the sometimes physical stuff
Tough
they go
on the
through.
body.
Yeah, it's just tough mentally, emotionally, every way, because that's not the normal rhythm.
Yeah, and then we also, so we have the element of it's for weak people, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah.
We've got the element of it's not as much of a priority. We don't really value it in the same way we value other physical health things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we also have the reality of technology and screens.
Yeah.
Like up until about 100 years ago, all of human history, when it was nighttime,
Yeah.
you had nothing to do.
Yep.
You went to sleep because
Yeah.
you don't have light. And
Yeah.
there was no other real source of light. Candles used to be super expensive.
Yeah, they couldn't run candles all the time. So people would. I mean, I got nothing else to do. It's nighttime. I'm going to go to sleep
Right.
and wake up with the dawn. And you look at that and you think, oh, how terrible, how crazy. But they were getting plenty of sleep.
They were.
And they were getting a lot of work done. I mean, those are the people who invented things and did stuff. But I think for us, we have the screen realities. We have the ability to where it can never feel like night, even when it is.
Yeah. And it's not that technology is evil. And I
Yeah.
mean, on this podcast, we're using technology to communicate with
Yeah.
you right now.
Yeah.
There are great realities to it. But what it does is it has put in our hands the ability to continue our day as long as we can go.
Yeah.
Like you can theoretically stay up till 3 a.m. every day as long as you can because you've got light. You can do whatever you want. You can read whatever you want. You can
Yeah.
watch a movie, play a video game. I was a gamer for a long time. I still enjoy games, but a true gamer, a lot of times when summer hits and school's out,
Oh, yeah.
4 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
up until 4 a.m. every day.
Yeah. It's nothing to them. And you think about the screens, you know, the blue light, there have been studies about that where the blue light affects you.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people talk about, you know, don't look at your screen right before bed. Don't sit there on the phone at night.
Which
'Cause
we
that-
all say, but none of us really do.
Yeah, yeah, no one does it. But the light, it can do that. Low light helps you get tired, go to sleep. But when you have light streaming straight into your eyes, it can keep you awake. And I think it's not so much the light as much as mentally. You have the ability, even though your body's tired, you're watching a screen, you're scrolling through videos, you're playing a video game, that can excite your brain. So that's enough to keep you awake. But your body itself is like, I just want to rest.
Yep.
But you can't rest. You're in that perpetual state. You're not really doing anything physical, but mentally you're doing something. So it's almost like you not allowing your body to go to sleep.
Right.
And I think that's when your body can't make the repairs, can't do the stuff. And then you wonder why you feel terrible the next day.
Right. And you grab your 17 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
To be able, I can't get through the day without my coffee.
Yeah.
You know, and there is the reality of the medicinal side of that. Like if you are literally addicted to it. But a lot of it is because we just don't get enough sleep. We got to find something to supplement.
Well, it was funny when I was visiting your sister in Korea. She talked about the cafe culture there is amazing. They drink coffee like it is going on, and they drink an Americano, which is basically an espresso with extra water. And that's what so many drink. But it's also because over there it's the same thing. Sleep, they don't get a lot. Like it'd be 10 o'clock at night. I was walking home. There were people out with their kids riding bikes.
That's wild.
I mean, it's just, it's incredible. But they work long hours. They do stuff like that. So after lunch, you see them all getting that caffeine. And I think that's where we have to be careful. Like here we have the Red Bull culture and all that, where people are drinking the high caffeinated drinks. And it's how they're kind of surviving.
Yeah. And it's almost, people are used to it. It is normal to be sleep deprived.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of people have learned to live with it, and they're kind of fixing it through the medication and all that other stuff.
Yeah. And just because it's normal doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
And so we want you as a guy to be able to get into a place that is healthy for you. And hopefully, even if you've got kids, you can set them up on a good schedule to where they can be successful in this area.
Yeah, they learn what's good and healthy.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about why sleep is a superpower.
Okay.
It's been neglected.
Yeah.
You know, well, actually, here's a great quote. It's actually part of our in our series when we're talking about the Physical Success 101. We deal with this as well as many other things. It's one of our big pillars of health that we talk about. If you want to go through that course and get the free coaching session with that, that's at thrivingman.com. You have to do it in September to get the free session, but man, it's really good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we made it. I think it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, we think it's really good stuff.
But this is a quote from the course. It's from a neuroscientist, Matthew Walker. He says, sleep is probably the greatest legal enhancing performance drug that few athletes are abusing enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Well, you think about just in our own life, when people get enough sleep, when somebody goes on a vacation and they sleep till they wake up, they learn. Like I heard a guy say one time that it takes his first week of vacation to learn how to relax, to actually rest during the second week of vacation.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because he would take 2 weeks, he said, because he learned that 1 week's not enough. And I think part of that is he probably caught up on sleep. He probably got to the point where, okay, my body, I can go to sleep and wake up on my own instead of having to have an alarm clock wake me up because I'm getting enough rest. And you think about how we feel when those things happen.
Yeah.
I think he's right. It does feel like, man, I'm doing, is this illegal? You know, I feel so good.
It feels too good.
And that's one thing I know with me lately. I've done a lot more going to bed at a certain time, waking up, and I find my body wakes up on its own. For me, in that 7 to 8 hours. Every once in a while, I'll have a night where I get up after about 6 hours, and I'm like, oh, I'm awake. But then sometimes I'll sleep a little over 8. But normally my body wakes up on its own. And it's a nice place to be, to where I find myself not getting as tired during the day. I don't get sleepy after lunch. All those things happen because I feel like, oh, I'm getting enough sleep.
Yeah. And I think we need to get past the stigma that sleep is for weak people.
Yeah.
Or sleep is for unproductive people.
That's a good point.
That's a big one.
That's what I think a lot of people see it as.
Yeah. If you're sleeping, you're not doing things that could be better. You know, you're not exercising or whatever.
Yeah.
But we miss out on the very many clear cases of like world-class athletes who sleep a lot. One example I'll give, because I'm a tennis person, Roger Federer. This is a man who is one of the top legends in tennis of all time, like in the top 5 best tennis players in the world for like 20 years.
He was.
Like not only at the top of his game, but at the top of his game for decades.
Yeah.
So Roger Federer sleeps an average of about 12 hours a day. He sleeps about 10 hours a night, and he takes a 2-hour nap during the day.
Wow.
So like if you look at somebody and you don't know who they are or what they do,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, man, that is a lazy bum.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
spending half their life sleeping.
Yeah.
What an idiot. Then you see it's Roger Federer,
Yeah.
one of the top people on the planet.
Yeah.
Maybe sleep isn't for lazy bums.
Maybe it's a good thing, and maybe instead of binge watching the latest show or YouTube videoing for hours,
Yep.
you know, because that's so easy to do,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not trying to shame people. It's just, I've done it. You've
I've done it 100%.
You know,
yes.
where let me look at TikTok for 5 minutes. 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, you're like, oh, I need to put my phone down. It's easy to do, but then we want to complain and say, I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm too tired. It's just we're not prioritizing. Where you see a guy like Roger Federer, I'm going to prioritize my sleep. I'm going to become one of the top tennis players in the world, earn millions of dollars. That's pretty good.
Yep.
I
Not
mean,
bad.
I wouldn't mind a
Yeah.
little bit of that.
I wouldn't be hurting with my Rolex deal.
I know. Where Rolex, hey, we're going to send you free watches if you'll wear them. Okay.
I'll do that, sure.
You know, and he gets paid for it. I would just wear the watches if they send them to me.
Yeah.
So Rolex, if you want to sponsor the podcast,
I will wear it right now.
Right now, it will be there.
Got you. But I think I like what you said, because sleep, we have to shift our view from, it's for weak people, to view sleep as a performance enhancing drug.
I think I love that quote. It's my favorite quote from our course, because to me, it sets up sleep for what it really is. It helps you live a better life when you have good, regular sleep. It's not that, I slept good one day. It's regular. And it's not that some days you're not, or some days, like we said, you go through a busy season, maybe your work.
Yeah, you can't be perfectionist about
Yeah,
it.
you can't. But when you regularly get sleep, if you lose at one time, it's not going to be as taxing on you. And I think you're not going to feel the effects as much because your body's more rested.
Yeah, if you want to live peak performance, whether that's the relationship with your family or your work or your physical body, sleep is a foundational part of that. So our challenge to you is evaluate.
Yeah.
Evaluate your sleep and ask yourself, what are the sleep habits that I have? I think we have to start with awareness.
Yeah, and I think a lot of guys don't really think about how little they sleep, when they go to sleep, what time they get up.
There's not intentionality with it.
No, and that's it. We think sleep's just going to happen. And it does, but I mean, you need things to happen in your life to where you make it a priority. Not that it's the most important thing, but if you don't sleep, mentally you're going to suffer.
It'll affect everything else.
You won't be as good in your job. You won't be as good physically. Emotionally, a lot of people get cranky. They get stressed out.
I do.
So who pays the price? Well, the family pays the price. The people, your coworkers pay the price. Sleep is something that, and that's why I love the performance enhancing drug. Life is a performance. We have to perform everywhere.
Right.
We perform for our family, our job, whatever we do.
Yeah.
If we get good sleep, we can bring our best.
Bring your best.
And I think that's the way to look at it. Is it helps me, just like exercise helps you be better, sleep helps you be better in every area.
That's exactly right. And it starts with you being aware and bringing intentionality to it.
Yeah.
So ask yourself questions like, 1, are you getting enough sleep? 2, if not, why not? Like sometimes, I'll give you an example for me. Sometimes the reason that I'll binge something at night and stay up too late is because I didn't get an opportunity that entire day to relax.
Yeah.
Which can come from either 1, not very good boundaries, 2, maybe an unhealthy expectation of what rest is.
Yeah.
3, maybe I'm not resting in the midst of and enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors that can play into it
That's true.
besides just what time you sleep.
Yeah.
So start asking those questions, because if you don't ask, You don't know. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people just have sleep as this ethereal thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'll do that better one day.
Well, it's kind of like exercising. One day I'm going to do it. One day I'm going to get in shape. One day I'm going to get good sleep. And we always seem to have excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things you may want to do is look at the reality of your schedule and the people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're married and you and your wife have differing views on sleep, how much you should get, when you should get it, you need to talk through that.
Yeah.
With your children, are you allowing them to set the schedule for the family?
Mm-hmm.
There's things you can do as a man to make sure you're getting enough sleep to protect your family.
Yes.
And it really is. If you want your children to perform better in sports, in school, and all those things, they need their sleep.
They got to have sleep.
I know some families, they don't allow their children to have media in their bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
They put their phones to bed.
Mm-hmm.
The phone goes to sleep somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
not the bedroom, just so it helps everybody get the sleep they need. And I think that's what we need to do, to just be intentional.
Yeah, I heard a quote. It was on the Essentialism podcast with Greg McEwen. And he said, limits can make you limitless.
Yeah.
Whenever you're willing to set boundaries on getting these fundamentals correct,
Yeah.
it gives you so much more potential to work in what really matters.
That's a good point.
So look at it like this. Kids need routine. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
We got to get our kids to bed.
Yeah.
That's not just a kid thing. That's a human thing.
It's all of us.
Humans need routine.
Yeah.
That includes you, and sleep is a vital part of having a routine where you can be successful. So our challenge to you, ask yourself those questions. Start evaluating your sleep and seeing how you can bring intentionality to sleep so it can be that performance-enhancing drug that makes your life better. That's what we're about on this podcast.
Yep.
We want to help you succeed physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that when you get better, everything else in your life gets better. We want you to live a life you can be proud of. If you find this content helpful, we challenge you to share it with somebody that you know, or to rate and review us on the podcast.
Yeah, leave it.
On that platform that helps us get it out to more people, even subscribing on our YouTube channel. We just want to be able to help as many men as possible thrive. That's what we're about here on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to the Thriving Man Podcast. If you want to check out more resources from David and Reese, you can go to thrivingman.com. We'll see you in the next episode.